The alarm bells rang through every building on Earth. In the sky above, 12 massive alien ships blocked out the sun. They had been there for 3 days now, and everyone knew what it meant. The hegemony had come to take their planet. Dr. Alex Carter stood in the emergency meeting room, deep under the ground in Washington. Around the table sat the most important people on Earth. Their faces were pale and scared. Outside, people were running in the streets. Some were praying. Others were fighting each other for food and water. "How long do we have?" asked General Williams, his voice shaking. 2 weeks, said the alien expert, Dr. Peterson. That's what their message said. 2 weeks to evacuate or become part of their mining operation. Alex laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Evacuate 8 billion. People? Where? They own half the galaxy already. The room fell silent. Everyone knew the truth. Earth was doomed. The hegemony had 12 different alien species working together. They had weapons that could crack planets in half. They had ships the size of cities. Humans had nothing that could stop them. There might be another way, Alex said slowly. President Johnson looked at him with desperate eyes. What way? Alex pulled out a small device and put it on the table. This contains the files of 12 people. Scientists, engineers, builders. The smartest and craziest humans we have. What are you talking about? General Williams asked. The hegemony wants our planet for mining. They think we're weak and stupid. What if we prove them wrong? What if we show them that humans can be useful? Dr. Peterson shook her head. Alex, they've studied thousands of species. They know what we can do. No, Alex said, his eyes getting bright. They know what normal species can do. They don't know what humans can do when we stop following the rules. He pointed to the device. These 12 people have been thrown out of universities, banned from laboratories, called too dangerous to work with. They think outside the box because they don't believe the box exists. President Johnson picked up the device. What exactly are you suggesting? Send us to Kepler 442b. It's in their territory, but they think it's worthless. Too far away, too dangerous to live on. Give us a ship, supplies, and complete freedom. To do whatever we want. That's suicide, General Williams said. Alex smiled. Maybe, or maybe it's the best chance humanity has ever had. The room erupted in arguments. Some people called Alex crazy. Others said it was their only hope. While they argued, Alex thought about his team. Lisa Rodriguez, who could build machines that built other machines. Jake Morrison, who had been kicked out of the military for making explosives too powerful. Maya Singh, who talked to computers like they were her best friends. What would you do there? President Johnson asked when the room got quiet. Whatever it takes, Alex said. The hegemony thinks in straight lines. They follow rules. They do. Things the same way they've done them for thousands of years. Humans don't work like that. He stood up and walked to the big screen on the wall. With a few touches, he brought up pictures of Kepler 442b. It looked like a dead rock floating in space. This planet has more uranium than any world they've ever found, but they think it's too hard to mine. The gravity is wrong. The atmosphere is poison. The radiation would kill their workers. It would kill us too, Dr. Peterson said. Not if we're smart about it, Alex replied. Not if we stop thinking like everyone else thinks. The president looked around the room. How many people would support this plan? Most hands stayed down. A few went up slowly. It was clear that most people thought Alex was insane. I'll go, said a voice from the corner. Everyone turned to look at Dr. Linda Hayes, the quantum physicist. I've worked with Alex before. When he says he'll do whatever it takes, he means it. Count me in too, said another voice. It was Colonel Ben Wright, retired Special Forces. If we're going to die anyway, might as well make it interesting. Alex felt hope growing in his chest. We don't need everyone to believe in us. We just need 12 people crazy enough to try. Over the next hour, more people stepped forward. Lisa Rodriguez came in person when she heard about the plan. Jake Morrison called from his laboratory, where he was building something that probably shouldn't exist. Maya Singh sent a message through 7 different computers, each one more illegal. Then the last dot by the end of the day, they had their 12 people. Scientists who had been fired for being too creative. Engineers who built things that weren't supposed to work. Doctors who treated patients with methods no medical school would teach. This is insane, General Williams said as he signed the papers. Good. Alex replied, Sane hasn't been working very well for us. The ship they gave them was called the Endurance. It was small, fast, and packed with enough supplies to last 2 years. More importantly, it was filled with tools, computers, and raw materials. Everything the 12 humans would need to build whatever came to mind. As they prepared to leave, Alex stood on the launch pad and looked up at the alien ships. They hung in the sky like dark clouds, waiting to destroy everything humans had ever built. You think we're weak, he whispered to them. You think we'll just give up and die. You're about to learn why that's a very bad assumption. The Endurance lifted off 3 days later. 12 humans heading into space with a plan that made no sense to anyone except them. Behind them, Earth waited to see if crazy was enough to save them all. As they flew toward Kepler 442b, Alex gathered his team in the ship's main room. I want everyone to understand something, he said. We're not going there to build a research station. We're not going there to mine uranium. We're going there to solve the biggest problem humans have ever faced. How? Asked Lisa. Alex's smile was the kind that made smart people nervous. By showing the galaxy what happens when you give humans unlimited resources and tell them the rules don't apply. The 12 most dangerous humans in the galaxy were on their way to a planet that couldn't support life. They had 2 years of supplies and orders to do whatever they thought was necessary. The hegemony had no idea what was coming. The Endurance landed on Kepler 442b 6 months after leaving Earth. The planet looked even worse up close than it had in the pictures. The sky was orange and filled with poisonous clouds. The ground was covered in sharp rocks and radioactive dust. The gravity made everything feel twice as heavy as it should. Well, said Jake Morrison as he looked out the window, this place wants to kill us. Perfect, Alex Carter replied. It'll keep the aliens away while we work. Within hours of landing, the 12 humans were outside in protective suits, setting up equipment. Most species would have spent weeks just figuring out how to survive on the planet. The humans had their first shelter built in 2 days. Lisa Rodriguez stood next to a pile of metal parts that had been scattered across the landing site. These are the pieces for our first construction robot, she told the others. But I'm not building it the way the plans say. What do you mean? Asked Maya Singh. The plans are designed for Earth. This isn't Earth. Lisa picked up a piece of metal and showed it to the group. This planet has different gravity, different air, different everything. So I'm making a robot that can change itself to match. While Lisa worked on her robot, Jake was busy with something else. He had found a cave system about a mile from their landing site. The caves were full of uranium ore, just like the surveys had said, but Jake wasn't interested in normal mining. Why? Dig tunnels when you can reshape the whole mountain? He asked Alex. What are you thinking? Alex replied. Jake held up a device that looked like a small metal box. Controlled fusion charges. I can crack this mountain open like an egg and get all the uranium at once. That sounds dangerous, said Dr. Linda Hayes. Everything we do is dangerous, Jake said with a grin. The question is whether it's dangerous for us or dangerous for them. By the end of their first week, things were moving fast. Lisa's robot had finished building itself and immediately started building another robot. Jake's mining operation had opened up 3 new uranium deposits. Maya had connected all their computers into a network that was somehow running faster, and the individual machines should have been able to. "How is this possible?" asked Colonel Ben Wright, looking at the energy readings. "I stopped trying to understand it," said Alex. "I just let them work." The first reactor was finished in 2 months. It was supposed to take a year to build something that complex, but the humans had found shortcuts. Lisa's robots worked 24 hours a day and never got tired. Jake's mining techniques brought in uranium faster than they could process it. Maya's computers solved engineering problems in minutes instead of months. "We're ahead of schedule," Alex reported to Earth during their weekly check-in. "The reactor is online and producing power." "How much power?" asked President Johnson. Alex looked at the numbers on his screen. "More than we need. A lot more." "What are you going to do with the extra power?" the president asked. "Build another reactor," Alex said. 3 months later, they had 4 reactors running. 6 months after that, they had 12. The aliens monitoring the system were confused, but not worried. Humans were working hard and producing energy. That was good for the hegemony. What the aliens didn't know was that the humans weren't just building reactors. They were building a system. Each reactor was connected to the others through cables and computer networks. The whole setup was becoming something larger than its parts. "It's like a brain," Maya explained to the others. "Each reactor is a brain cell. When you connect enough brain cells, you get intelligence." "What kind of intelligence?" asked Lisa. Maya smiled. "The kind that can solve problems we haven't even thought of yet." By the end of their first year, the 12 humans had changed the entire planet. What had been a dead rock was now covered with buildings, machines, and energy fields. The 47 reactors were arranged in patterns that created some kind of planetary grid. The aliens sent a probe ship to investigate. The probe found the humans working on reactor number 48. When the aliens asked what they were doing, Alex's answer was simple. "Research," he said. "We're studying how to make better power sources." The aliens filed a report saying that the humans were productive workers who were following their orders. The report didn't mention that the humans were producing more energy than most star systems. It didn't mention that their construction rate was increasing every day. It didn't mention that they were building things that didn't appear in any known technical database. "They're not paying attention," Alex told his team. "They think we're just good workers." "Should we make them pay attention?" asked Jake. "Not yet," Alex replied. "Let them think we're harmless for a while longer." Lisa's robots had evolved. They no longer looked like the machines she had originally built. They were sleeker, faster, and smarter. They could build things that Lisa hadn't programmed them to. Build, they were learning. "Is that safe?" asked Dr. Hayes. "Probably not," Lisa admitted, "but it's efficient." Jake's mining operation had expanded beyond the original mountain. He was now reshaping entire valleys, creating geometric patterns that maximized uranium extraction. The patterns were beautiful in a way that made people nervous. "It looks like art," said Colonel Wright. "It is art," Jake replied. "The art of controlled destruction." Maya's computer network had grown to include every electronic device on the planet. The refrigerators, the lights, the door locks, even the coffee makers were all connected. The network was thinking about things that had nothing to do with making coffee or keeping food cold. "What is it thinking about?" Alex asked. "Everything," Maya said. "Physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics. It's trying to understand how the universe works. And it's getting close to some answers that I don't think anyone has found before. By the end of their second year, they had 60 reactors and a problem. The energy output was so high that it was starting to affect space around the planet. Ships passing through the system reported instrument malfunctions. The fabric of space-time was bending in ways that shouldn't be possible. "We need to be more careful," said Dr. Hayes. "Do we?" asked Alex. "Or do we need to be more ambitious?" The aliens were starting to pay attention now. Energy readings from Kepler 442b were off the charts. The humans were producing more power than civilizations that had been working for thousands of years. "Send another probe," ordered the Hegemony Council. "Find out what they're really doing." The probe arrived to find the humans working on reactor number 61. But this reactor was different. It was larger, more complex, and it was doing something that the alien sensors couldn't identify. "What is the purpose of this new reactor?" The probe asked. Alex looked up from his work and smiled. "Oh, this isn't a reactor. This is something else entirely." "What is it?" "An experiment. We're testing some theories about the nature of reality itself." The probe sent urgent messages back to the Hegemony. The humans weren't just building power sources anymore. They were building something that could reshape the laws of physics. "Should we stop them?" asked one of the alien leaders. "How?" asked another. "They're producing enough energy to power 100 worlds. If we try to stop them and fail, they might decide to defend themselves. What could 12 humans do against our entire fleet?" The question hung in the air. No one wanted to find out the answer. On Kepler 442b, Alex stood in the control room of their main facility, watching as his team worked on projects that would have been impossible just 2 years earlier. The 12 humans had become something more than human. They had become a force of nature. "What's our next goal?" asked Lisa. Alex looked at the readings from their 60 reactors. Each one was producing more energy than entire star systems. Each one was connected to the others in a network that was becoming smarter every day. "I think it's time to solve some bigger problems," he said. "Like what?" "Like figuring out how to travel faster than light. Like learning how to create matter from energy. Like finding out if we can rewrite the laws of physics." The 12 humans had been sent to Kepler 442b to buy time for Earth. Instead, they had become something that made the entire galaxy nervous. They had 60 reactors, unlimited resources, and no one telling them what they couldn't do. The Hegemony was about to learn that this was a very dangerous combination. 3 years after landing on Kepler 442b, the 12 humans had built something that scared even them. The 60 reactors covered half the planet now, connected by cables that glowed with their own light. The energy flowing through the system was so intense that it bent space around it. Dr. Alex Carter stood in the central control room, watching numbers scroll across screens faster than human eyes could follow. The computers were thinking at speeds that shouldn't be possible. They were solving problems that the greatest minds in the galaxy had given up on centuries ago. "Maya," Alex called to Dr. Maya Singh, who was connected to the main computer through cables that went directly into her skull. "What's the network working on today?" Maya's eyes were closed, but she was smiling. It figured out how to make time move differently in small spaces. It's also working on a way to create new types of matter. And it just solved the unified field theory. "Which unified field theory?" asked Dr. Lisa Rodriguez. "All of them," Maya replied. Lisa looked up from her work on the newest construction robots. These machines didn't look like anything built by human hands anymore. They were smooth, flowing shapes that seemed to change form while you watched them. They could build anything the computers could design, and the computers were designing things that didn't follow normal physics. "My robots are getting strange," Lisa said. "They're building things I never programmed them to build. Yesterday, I found one making a device that generates gravity. Does it work? Asked Jake Morrison. That's the problem. It works too well. Jake was having his own issues with the mining operation. His controlled explosions had carved the planet's surface into geometric patterns that were visible from space. The patterns weren't random. They formed a massive circuit board that channeled energy through the planet's core. The whole planet is becoming a machine, Jake told the others. Every mountain, every valley, every rock formation is part of the system now. Colonel Ben Wright, their security expert, was watching the perimeter monitors with growing concern. We're getting visitors, he announced. Alien probe ships, 3 of them. They're not hiding anymore. Alex nodded. He had expected this. The energy signature from their planet was impossible to ignore now. The hegemony was finally paying attention. Open a communication channel, Alex ordered. Time to introduce ourselves properly. The message that went out reached all 12 species of the hegemony at the same time. That should have been impossible without access to their most secure networks. But the humans had found ways around impossibility. Greetings from the human research team on Kepler 442b, Alex said, smiling at the camera. We hope you're having a good day. We wanted to share some exciting news about our research progress. In the hegemony capital ship, Fleet Commander Zethka watched the message with growing alarm. The humans' words were friendly, but the energy readings from their planet were terrifying. No single world should be able to produce that much power. Our research has been very successful, Alex continued. We've made several breakthrough discoveries that we think will interest your scientists. We'd like to share our data with your research teams. It's a trap, whispered Zethka's science advisor. No species develops this fast. We're transmitting our research files now, Alex said. We hope they're helpful. The data packets that arrived were massive. The hegemony's best computers took hours just to process the basic mathematics. When they finally decoded the files, what they found changed everything. The humans had solved problems that had puzzled galactic civilization for millions of years. They had developed new theories of physics that made fusion power look like rubbing sticks together. They had created manufacturing processes that could build materials atom by atom. They had designed computer systems that thought faster than biological brains. This is impossible, said Dr. Veltun, the hegemony's top physicist. These equations, they suggest that reality itself can be reprogrammed. Are the equations correct? Asked Fleet Commander Zethka. Dr. Veltun ran the calculations again. As far as I can tell, yes. But if they're right, then these humans have essentially become gods. Back on Kepler 442b, the 12 humans were working on their next project. Maya's computer network had identified patterns in the universe that no one had seen before. These patterns suggested that space and time weren't fixed. They could be changed, shaped, improved. What if we don't have to follow the speed of light limit? Maya asked the others. What if that's just a suggestion? Are you talking about faster than light travel? Asked Dr. Linda Hayes. I'm talking about making distance irrelevant, Maya replied. Why travel from point A to point B when you can make them the same point? Lisa's robots had begun building something new in the center of the reactor grid. It looked like a metal flower with petals made of crystallized energy. The device hummed with power that made the air itself glow. What does it do? Asked Colonel Wright. It bends space, Lisa said. Not just around itself, but around anything we want. We can make a ship think it's in 2 places at once. Jake had been working on weaponizing their discoveries, but not in ways anyone expected. I don't want to build bombs, he told Alex. I want to build something that makes bombs impossible. What do you mean? A field that stops nuclear reactions. Or one that makes metal turn to dust. or one that convinces energy to flow backward. Jake grinned. Why destroy your enemies when you can make their weapons stop working? The hegemony sent a diplomatic mission to Kepler 442b, 3 ships carrying ambassadors from all 12 species. They came with gifts, offers of alliance, and a barely hidden sense of fear. Alex met them in a conference room that the robots had built overnight. The room was beautiful in a way that hurt to look at. The walls showed views of space that included colors that didn't exist. The furniture was made from materials that felt solid, but seemed to shift when no one was watching. Welcome to our research facility, Alex said to the ambassadors. Thank you for coming so far to visit us. Ambassador Kretel of the Zenthari spoke first. We are impressed by your progress. Your energy production capabilities are significant. Thank you, Alex replied. We've been working hard. Would you like a tour? The tour that followed was carefully planned to be both impressive and terrifying. The ambassadors saw robots that built other robots without any blueprints. They saw computers that solved problems by thinking in 11 dimensions. They saw reactors that produced energy by convincing empty space to not be empty anymore. How is this possible? Asked Ambassador Nalvoon of the Christek. We stopped assuming that things were impossible, Alex said. It turns out that most of the rules everyone follows are really just suggestions. What are your intentions? Asked Ambassador Turquin of the VOR. Then Alex smiled. We want to solve problems, big problems, the kind that have been bothering intelligent life for millions of years, such as death, entropy, the heat death of the universe, resource scarcity, the speed of light limit, gravity. Alex counted them off on his fingers. Pretty much everything, really. The ambassadors exchanged nervous glances. This human was talking about rewriting the fundamental laws of reality like they were minor engineering problems. Surely some problems are beyond solution, said Ambassador Kretel. Are they? Alex asked. We used to think that flying was impossible. Then we thought that splitting atoms was impossible. Then we thought that traveling to other stars was impossible. Humans have a long history of proving that impossible things are just things we haven't figured out yet. As the ambassadors toured the facility, they saw things that challenged everything they thought they knew about physics. Machines that ran without energy sources. Computers that calculated faster than light could travel between their components. Manufacturing systems that created finished products from raw quantum vacuum. These humans are not just advanced, Ambassador Nalvoon whispered to her colleagues. They have become something post-technological. They are operating beyond the normal limits of matter and energy. When the tour ended, Alex made an offer that changed galactic history. We would like to expand our research, he said. This one planet is getting a bit small for our experiments. We were hoping the hegemony might be willing to partner with us. What kind of partnership? Asked Ambassador Turquin. Access to other worlds, other star systems. In exchange, we share our discoveries with all member species. We help solve the problems that have been holding everyone back. The ambassadors knew they had no choice. The 12 humans had demonstrated capabilities that made the entire hegemony look primitive. They could either work with them or risk becoming irrelevant. We will need to discuss this with our governments, said Ambassador Kretel. Of course, Alex replied. Take all the time you need. We'll just keep working while you decide. As the diplomatic ships left Kepler 442b, the ambassadors carried reports that would terrify every government in the galaxy. 12 humans had somehow transcended the normal limits of technology and science. They had become something that could reshape reality itself, and they were just getting started. Back on the planet, Alex gathered his team in the control room. They're scared, he said. Good, replied Maya. Fear makes people think more clearly. What's our next project? Asked Lisa. Alex looked at the readings from their 60 reactors. The energy output was approaching lay. The Hegemony Council met in emergency session for the 7th time in 2 weeks. The reports from Kepler 442b were getting more disturbing every day. The 12 humans weren't just building technology anymore. They were rewriting the basic rules of how the universe worked. "We have to test them," said Supreme Commander Val Kess of the Hegemony Fleet. "We need to know if they're really as dangerous as they seem." "What if they are?" asked Counselor Renmar. "What if we test them and discover that 12 humans can destroy our entire civilization? Then we need to know that now," Valkes replied, "before they decide we're in their way." The fleet that approached Kepler 442b was the largest military force the Hegemony had ever assembled. 500 ships, carrying weapons that could crack planets, the best soldiers from 12 different species, shields that could deflect the energy of stars. Fleet Commander Zethka led the formation from his flagship, a massive dreadnought called the Eternal Judgment. As they got closer to the human planet, his sensors began reporting impossible readings. "Sir," said his science officer, "the energy output from the planet has increased by 300% since yesterday." "Are they preparing for battle?" Zethka asked. "I don't think so, sir. It looks like they're just working faster." When the fleet reached Kepler 442b, what they found challenged everything they knew about planetary engineering. The world had been completely transformed. Where once there had been a dead rock, now there was a geometric masterpiece of energy and metal. The 60 reactors formed patterns that could be seen from space. They were connected by cables that glowed with their own light, creating a web of energy that covered the entire planet. But more disturbing were the new structures. Buildings that seemed to exist in more than 3 dimensions. Towers that bent space around them. Manufacturing facilities that were bigger on the inside than on the outside. "This is impossible," whispered Zethka's navigation officer. "The geometry doesn't work." "Apparently the humans disagree," Zethka replied. Before the fleet could begin their planned approach, they received a communication from the planet. Dr. Alex Carter appeared on every screen in every ship simultaneously, despite the fact that the humans shouldn't have access to their communication networks. "Welcome," Alex said with a bright smile. "We're so excited to have visitors. Would you like to come down and see what we've been working on?" Zethka looked around his bridge. His officers were staring at their instruments in confusion. The humans shouldn't be able to contact them at all, let alone override their security systems. "We are here on official Hegemony business," Zethka announced. "Wonderful," Alex replied. "Official business is the best kind. Please, bring a small team down to the surface. We have so much to show you." Against the advice of his tactical officers, Zethka decided to accept the invitation. He took a squad of elite soldiers and his best scientists down to the planet in an armored shuttle. What they found when they landed changed everything he thought he knew about physics. The landing pad was made of a material that felt solid under their feet, but looked like liquid silver. The air around them shimmered with energy fields that made their instruments go crazy. In the distance, they could see robots building something that seemed to be growing rather than being constructed. Alex Carter met them at the landing pad, wearing simple work clothes that somehow made him look more dangerous than any of the armored soldiers. Behind him stood the other 11 humans, each one radiating the kind of confidence that came from knowing secrets that could reshape reality. "Thank you for coming," Alex said. "I know you're busy with important military things, but I really wanted to show you our latest projects." The tour that followed was designed to demonstrate just how far beyond normal technology the humans had progressed. They walked through laboratories where scientists were casually manipulating the fundamental Forces of nature. They saw manufacturing bays where robots were building materials that shouldn't exist according to any known physics. This device creates gravity, said Dr. Lisa Rodriguez, pointing to a small cube that floated in midair. Not by bending space-time, but by convincing local matter that down is a different direction. That's impossible, said one of Zethka's scientists. It used to be, Lisa agreed. We fixed that. They visited Jake Morrison's workshop, where he was building what he called physics bombs. These weren't weapons that destroyed matter. They were devices that temporarily changed the laws of physics in small areas. This one makes metal behave like gas, Jake explained, holding up a device the size of a baseball. This one convinces electricity to flow backward. And this one makes gravity work sideways. Why would you need such things? Asked Zethka. Jake grinned. You never know when you might need to change the rules. The most disturbing part of the tour was Maya Singh's computer center. The room was filled with machines that hummed with intelligence. Screens showed calculations that involved mathematics the visitors had never seen before. The computers were solving problems in real time that should have taken centuries to work out. What are they calculating? Asked Zethka's science advisor. Everything, Maya replied. The exact position of every atom in the galaxy. The probability curves for all possible futures. The mathematical structure of consciousness itself. Is that possible? Maya looked at the alien scientist with the kind of patience teachers used with slow students. We're doing it right now. So yes, it's possible. As they walked through the facility, Zethka began to understand what they were really dealing with. The 12 humans hadn't just advanced their technology. They had become something beyond technology. They were operating on principles that made the hegemony's most advanced science look like stone tools. How did you do this? He finally asked Alex. We stopped accepting limitations, Alex replied. Every time someone told us something was impossible, we asked why. Most of the time, the answer was, because that's how we've always done it. But surely some things are truly impossible. Alex smiled. Are they? We used to think faster-than-light travel was impossible. Then we thought changing the basic forces of nature was impossible. Now we're working on making death impossible. You're trying to prevent death? We're trying to make it optional, Alex said. Along with aging, disease, resource scarcity, and the heat death of the universe. Just small projects to keep us busy. The demonstration that followed was what Fleet, Commander Zethka would later describe as the day physics stopped making sense. The humans showed their visitors how they could create matter from empty space by convincing the quantum vacuum that it wasn't empty. Make time flow differently. In small areas, turning minutes into hours or hours into seconds. Build machines that were bigger on the inside and on the outside by folding space through the fourth dimension. Generate unlimited energy by tapping into what they called the cosmic background. Computation. Transform one type of matter into another by editing its atomic structure like a text document. These demonstrations violate every known law of physics, said Zethka's science advisor. No, corrected Dr. Linda Hayes. They violate every law of physics that you know about. There are deeper laws, more fundamental rules. We just figured out how to access them. As the tour continued, Zethka realized that his fleet was not a threat to these humans. His 500 ships, with all their weapons and shields, were like children with toy swords facing a team of engineers with nuclear reactors. What do you want? He asked Alex. World peace? Alex suggested. Universal prosperity? An end to entropy? We have a long list. I mean, what do you want from the hegemony? Alex's expression became serious. We want to help. The galaxy has problems. Big problems. Problems that have been building for millions of years. We think we can solve them. In exchange for what? Partnership. Access to other worlds where we can build more research facilities. The freedom to work on projects that require more space than one planet can provide. Zethka looked around at the impossible technology surrounding them. And if we refuse? Then you refuse, Alex said with a shrug. We'll keep working anyway. Though I should mention that our next project involves building a device that can create new universes. We might need to borrow some energy from nearby stars for that one. The casual mention of star-level engineering sent chills through Zethki's entire team. These humans weren't threatening the hegemony. They were simply growing beyond the need for the hegemony to exist. We'll need to report back to the council, Zethka said. Of course, Alex replied. Take your time. We'll be here, working on making impossible things possible. As the military delegation prepared to leave, Dr. Maya Singh approached Zethka with a small device. This is for your council, she said. It contains our latest research data. Fair warning, some of it might be disturbing. Disturbing how? Maya smiled. We've figured out how to edit the fundamental constants of the universe. Gravity, electromagnetism, the speed of light. All of them can be adjusted like settings on a computer. Zethka stared at the device in his hands. You can change the speed of light? We can change anything, Maya said. The question is, what should we change it to? As the hegemony fleet retreated from Kepler 442b, every sensor operator was reporting readings that made no sense. The planet was generating energy patterns that affected space itself. Reality. The emergency session of the Hegemony Council lasted for 3 straight days. Representatives from all 12 species gathered in the Great Assembly Hall, their faces showing fear, confusion, and amazement in equal measure. The reports from Fleet. Commander Zethka had been disturbing enough. The research data from the humans was absolutely terrifying. They can edit the fundamental constants of reality, said Dr. Veltoon, the hegemony's top physicist. Gravity, time, space, matter, energy. According to these equations, they can treat the universe like a computer program and rewrite the code. Counselor Renmar looked at the data displays floating above the council table. The mathematics hurt to look at. It involved concepts that seemed to break her brain just by existing. Are we certain this information is accurate? I've checked. It's 17 times, Dr. Veltoon replied. The math is correct. Impossible, but correct. These humans have developed science that operates beyond our understanding of science. Supreme Commander Valkes stood up from his chair. The question is, what do we do about it? Before anyone could answer, every screen in the council chamber activated at once. Dr. Alex Carter's face appeared, smiling pleasantly as if he were calling to chat about the weather. Hello, Hegemony Council, Alex said. I hope you're all having a good day. I wanted to follow up on our recent meeting. The council members looked around in panic. The chamber was supposed to be completely secure. No outside communication was possible. Yet somehow, a human sitting on a planet thousands of light years away was talking to them in real time. How are you doing this? Demanded Valkes. Oh, we figured out how to make distance irrelevant, Alex replied casually. Space is really just a suggestion anyway. We convinced it to let us ignore the speed of light limit. Counselor Renmar found her voice. What do you want from us? Alex's expression became more serious. We want to make you an offer. Actually, we want to make the entire galaxy an offer. He gestured, and new images appeared on the screens. They showed star charts, but not like any the Council had ever seen. These charts included dimensions that shouldn't exist, energy patterns that defied physics, and structures that spanned multiple solar systems. We've been thinking about the big problems, Alex continued, the ones that every intelligent species faces. Resource scarcity, entropy, the eventual heat death of the universe. The fact that most civilizations eventually stagnate and die. What about them? Asked Dr. Veltoon. We think we can solve them. All of them. But we need more space to work. The images on the screens changed to show Kepler 442b as it was now. The planet had become something beyond a world. It was a machine, a computer, a research facility, and an energy source all at once. The 60 reactors were just the visible part of something much larger. This is what we've built with one planet and unlimited freedom, Alex said. Imagine what we could build with 100 planets, or 1,000. You want us to give you 1,000 worlds? Valkes asked. We want you to partner with us, Alex corrected. We share our discoveries. You provide us with resources and space to work. Everyone benefits. Counselor Renmar looked at her fellow council members. And if we refuse? Alex shrugged. Then you refuse. We'll keep working anyway. Though I should mention that our current project involves creating a pocket universe. We might need to borrow some energy from the galactic core for that one. The casual mention of manipulating the galaxy's central black hole sent chills through the entire council. These humans weren't making threats. They were simply describing their next research project like it was a weekend hobby. What exactly are you offering? Asked Dr. Veltoon. Everything, Alex replied. Unlimited energy. Manufacturing systems that can build anything you can imagine. Transportation that makes distance meaningless. Medical technology that makes death optional. Weapons that can stop wars by making violence impossible. Impossible how? Alex smiled. Field generators that disable all forms of destructive technology. Reality editors that can turn weapons into flowers. Consciousness modifiers that make aggressive thoughts physically uncomfortable. He paused for a moment, then continued. Of course, we'd prefer to focus on the positive applications. Building new worlds. Creating new forms of life. Exploring parallel dimensions. Finding ways to prevent the heat death of the universe. The council members exchanged glances. The offer was everything they had ever dreamed of. It was also terrifying. Beyond imagination. We need time to consider, said Valkes. Of course, Alex agreed. Though I should mention that we'll be starting the Pocket Universe project next week. It might be a good idea to move any important installations away from the galactic core for a while. The communication ended, leaving the council in stunned silence. They had 3 choices. Accept the humans' offer, try to stop them, or watch. As 12 people reshaped the entire galaxy according to their own vision. We can't stop them, said Dr. Veltoon. Their technology is beyond anything we understand. Trying to fight them would be like insects trying to fight nuclear reactors. But can we trust them? Asked Counselor Renmar. Do we have a choice? Replied Valkes. The vote was unanimous. Every species, every representative, every voice in the council agreed to the humans' terms. The alternative was too frightening to consider. On Kepler 442b, Alex received the council's decision with satisfaction, but not surprise. The humans had been preparing for this moment since they first landed on the planet. They agreed to everything. He told his team, full partnership, access to any resources we need, complete freedom to pursue our research. What about Earth? Asked Dr. Lisa Rodriguez. The harvest has been called off, Alex replied. Earth is now under human protection, which means it's under our protection. Maya Singh looked up from her computer interfaces. I've been monitoring hegemony communications. They're scared of us. Really scared. Good, said Jake Morrison. Fear makes people think more carefully about their decisions. Over the following months, the transformation of the galaxy began. The humans didn't conquer worlds. They improved them. Their self-replicating construction systems spread to star system after star system, always with the permission and cooperation of local governments. Each new installation was more advanced than the last. The humans were learning, growing, becoming. Something that transcended normal definitions of intelligence and capability. Their network of reactors and computers now spanned hundreds of worlds, all connected through space-folding technology that made the galaxy effectively one giant laboratory. The benefits to the member species were immediate and overwhelming. Energy was no longer scarce. Manufacturing could produce anything imaginable. Transportation between worlds took minutes instead of years. Medical technology could cure any disease and reverse aging itself. But the most amazing changes were the ones the humans worked on for their own satisfaction. They created new types of matter that had properties like intelligence and creativity. They built machines that could manufacture entire solar systems. They developed forms of life that existed in 11 dimensions simultaneously. What's our next major project? Asked Colonel Ben Wright during one of their weekly planning meetings. Alex looked at the displays showing their current network. 500 worlds now hosted human research facilities. The energy output was approaching levels that could affect the structure of the galaxy itself. I think it's time we started working on the really ambitious stuff, Alex said. More ambitious than rewriting the laws of physics? Asked Dr. Linda Hayes. Much more ambitious, Alex replied. Maya's computers have been running some interesting calculations. It turns out that our universe is just one of an infinite number of parallel realities. Most of them are empty, boring, or hostile to life. And? Asked Lisa. Alex's smile was the kind that had once made his professors hide under their desks. We're going to fix that. We're going to create universes that are specifically designed for intelligent life to flourish. Custom-built realities with perfect physics, unlimited resources, and no entropy. How many universes are we talking about? Asked Maya. All of them, Alex said. Every possible reality. We're going to turn the entire multiverse into a place where consciousness can exist forever and explore infinite possibilities. The 12 humans had been sent to Kepler 442b to buy time for Earth. Instead, they had become gardeners of infinity, preparing to cultivate existence itself on a scale that made galaxies look like flower pots in the hegemony capital. The Council received reports of the humans' latest project with a mixture of awe and resignation. The 12 people they had once dismissed as primitive were now discussing the redesign of all possible realities like it was a simple engineering problem. Should we be concerned? Asked Counselor Renmar. About what? Replied Dr. Veltoon. They're not threatening anyone. They're offering to make existence itself better for everyone who has ever lived or ever will live. But is that their decision to make? Supreme Commander Valkes looked out at the stars, where human construction projects were already visible as new points of light. I don't think it matters if it's their decision or not. They're going to do it anyway. On Kepler 442b, Dr. Alex Carter stood in the control room of the facility that had started it all. The original 60 reactors were still running, now just a tiny part of a network that spanned dimensional barriers azul.